So hello, I'm back again to talk about American domestic politics. Of course. I guess the reason why the Democratic Party establishment is freaking out so bad, along with the GOP, is it turns out Democratic Socialist ideas are very popular, and majority of the country is starting to warm up to these ideas. Now they may not understand the label, but they like the policies. And what's happening is there's a sea change happening in this country. And they had the whole Tea Party of the right in 2010, around the 2010 and 12 range, early 2010s. So 15 years later, now the Democratic Party's having their own Tea Party moment. Um, Now they are eerily similar but different because the right wing, their actually ideas were actually not popular, but people were just in that anti-establishment sentiment. And again, like I said, people are tired of the uniparty system. They want to see the government change. And people will vote different directions. The pendulum will swing because people will take their anger out of the polls and vote for different types of politics because they feel like that's going to fix the problem. So apparently, I did not know this. I have not been obviously not paying a close enough attention to elections. But this year alone, since they've had elections, um, there's a total of 90 candidates that are endorsed by DSA that are running for office, federal and local alike. Well, it turns out there's already been several primaries that have happened. So there's been 60 already Democratic Socialist candidates that ran. Okay. There's still 30 more. There's still several more elections to go. So there's 30 more on that endorsement list. All right. Remains to be seen what happens. But it turns out out of the 60 so far after the election, 42 of the 60 got elected. One. Okay. 42 out of 60 so far. The elections aren't even over yet. So, if that course stays, if that trend keeps up, right now, as we see it, it's 2/3 of victories for Democratic Socialists. 60. 42 out of 60. Do the math on that. So only 18 lost, 42 won. Pretty significant. And they're saying that these the backlash from the voter base against a political party is as strong as they've seen in a generation. They're saying that it's even stronger than the Republicans in 2010 with the Tea Party. It's even stronger. But I want to remind people of the difference. These ideas that they're promoting are very popular. And the establishment has many times underestimated that. Many times over. Okay. The Democratic Party does not fear losing to MAGA. They do not fear losing to Republicans. They fear losing to real populist progressives. You want to know why? Because there's no doubt a populist progressive would beat MAGA. Hands down. Okay. They're afraid of losing their own power. Because at the end of the day, what we're learning, and I've told people this under the era of Donald Trump, what we're learning every day is who these people really are. They're revealing who they are. So, yes, our country is greatly suffering under Donald Trump's leadership. Okay, and it's no surprise. And I feared this was going to happen if he got elected again. And it has. The only silver lining in it, though, is the American populace wake up. And finally, even the Democratic base of the Democratic Party that's been brainwashed for so many years, especially the older Democrats out there, to believe in institutions, to believe in political leadership. Because there's a difference between the Democratic base and the Republican base in their mindset. Republican base voters, they vote in line with their party. So, in other words, they don't believe anything. They don't trust institutions. They don't trust nothing. They don't trust authority. They don't trust any of that. But yet they're willing to obey it when it comes to their party as a team player, which is ironic. And they'll vote for anything that has an R behind its name. They don't care. The Democratic side, Democrats chose for so long to believe in institutions, believe in authority, believe in this and that. But the difference with the Democratic base, though, is they also are more critical of their elected officials. Okay. So what's happening now is not only are they more critical of their elected officials than they were before, but now they've completely lost trust in institutions. They've completely lost trust in authority. Okay. And I'd argue there's a point where Democratic voters had to get there, because we have to understand that if we do not push this party the right direction, our country will fall into the abyss as forever fascism. And finally, the American populace on the left, along with independent voters alike, are waking up to this reality, because it has to happen. We need change, fundamentally, from the bottom up. Our country is flailing to the toilet. All right. We're failing in education. We're failing in healthcare. We're failing on foreign policy. We're failing on the environment. We are supposed to be the greatest nation in the world. And you know what America has to show for that right now, other than their frickin' greed? Nothing. Nothing to offer humanity. It's all about profits. Meanwhile, all these other countries around the world are catching up and surpassing us now. They have provided universal health care and child care and many other systems for their constituents and their people. They provide them better quality food. Everything in these countries are starting to be ran better than America. And we're supposed to be the number one superpower in the world. And what are we now? We're falling to the totem pole, the bottom of crap. Because we choose to believe what these politicians have sold us for so long. They sold us a bill of lies, okay? It's catching up with them. It's catching up with all of them. We're done with the uniparty system. We're tired of it. Not to say that fascism is the answer. That's why we need real populism, to get rid of this fascist energy and actually clear the slate and actually send this country flying the right direction for a change. This is what the country needs. We need a populist energy that's genuine and real. Okay? I'm willing to invite anybody into that conversation, even if I don't agree with them on everything, as long as they see the same problem. Because we need to have that discussion. That needs to be a reality. There are people we're not going to agree with on everything. There are people that maybe come from different ideologies and different walks of life, but they also know something's not right in this country. And the quality of life is getting further and further away from all of us. People are now all realizing that across racial, religion, political dynamics alike. Everybody's realizing it. Because, like I said, we are all chained to that rhythm. We all get affected one way or another. You got to get out of the mindset of individualism and start thinking collectivism. Because that's how the life cycle actually works. Okay, y'all. You have a great day. You have a great night. See y'all later. Goodbye.